Designer yoga pants, the ones I'd bought her for her birthday because she said they made her feel confident when she posted her morning workout routines online. Isabel was what people called a lifestyle influencer. She had 400,000 followers who watched her drink green smoothies and practice gratitude journaling. They had no idea who she really was. Harder than it needs to be? I stood up too, my chair scraping against the hardwood floor. You're ending a 5-year relationship over breakfast and you want me to make it easy? See, this is exactly what I'm talking about. She grabbed her phone and her keys. You're always so intense about everything. I just need space to grow. We're getting married in 4 months, Isabel. 4 months. The venue is booked. Your dress is being altered. My parents already sent out save the dates to their entire church congregation. She sighed, like I was being unreasonable. Like I was the problem. I can't do this right now. I'm meeting Stephanie for a hike. Stephanie. Her best friend who'd spent the last year telling Isabel she was settling. Because I worked a normal job in software development, instead of being an entrepreneur or influencer or whatever other buzzword they threw around during their bottomless mimosa brunches. When are you coming back? I asked. I don't know. I need some time to think. She left. Just like that. 5 years, reduced to the sound of our apartment door closing. I stood there for a long time, staring at her half-eaten quinoa bowl, the spoon resting against the side of the ceramic. She'd bought 4 of those bowls last month. Said they were perfect for content creation. We had a cabinet full of props for her Instagram posts. Props for a life that looked perfect online but was apparently suffocating her in reality. I didn't cry. That surprised me. I thought I would. Instead, I cleaned up her bowl, washed the spoon, put everything away. Then I went into our bedroom and noticed for the first time how much of her stuff was already gone. Not all of it. Just enough that I should have noticed before. The expensive moisturizer she bought in Paris, the vintage Chanel bag her grandmother left her, the photo albums from her childhood. She'd been planning this. I sat on the edge of our bed and opened my laptop. I'm not proud of what I did next, but I'm not ashamed of it either. I logged into our shared cloud account, the one we set up when we first moved in together so we could access important documents from anywhere. Bank statements, lease agreements, insurance policies. The password was our anniversary date. She never changed it. I started scrolling through the recently uploaded files. Nothing unusual at first. Photos from her latest photo shoot. A PDF of her latest brand partnership contract. Then I saw it. A folder I didn't recognize. Summer planning. I clicked. Flight confirmations. 2 tickets to Cancun departing next week. Round trip, first class. Jordan Mitchell was not the other name on those tickets. The name was Ethan Reeves. I stared at that name for a long time. Ethan Reeves. It sounded familiar, but I couldn't place it. I opened a new tab and searched our email history. There, buried in her sent folder from 3 months ago, was a message to an email address I didn't recognize. The subject line was blank, but the message itself sent a chill down my spine. Can't wait to see you at the reunion. It's been too long. I've thought about you every day since college. I think I made a mistake letting you go. The reunion. She'd mentioned it casually 2 months ago. Her 10-year college reunion. Said it would be boring. Mostly people she barely remembered. She went alone. Came back different. I'd noticed but told myself I was being paranoid. She was just stressed about work, about wedding planning, about turning 30. I searched Ethan Reeves on social media. Found him immediately. Tall, built, that carefully casual, wealthy look that comes from personal trainers and designer casual wear. His profile said he was an investment consultant in Boston. His page was full of photos from charity galas, sailing trips, wine tastings at vineyards. The life Isabel always said she wanted but could never afford on my salary. I scrolled back through his photos, found what I was looking for, 3 months ago. A post from the college reunion. And there, in the background of a group photo, barely visible but unmistakable, was Isabel. She was looking at Ethan, and he was looking back. My phone buzzed. A text from Isabel. "Staying at Stephanie's tonight. Need more time to think." I didn't respond. Instead, I opened our banking app, our joint account, the one we used for shared expenses, rent, utilities, the wedding fund. I logged in. The balance was $347.82. Last week, it had been $28,327.82. $28,000 gone, transferred out in 3 separate transactions over the last 5 days, all to an account I didn't recognize. I sat there in the dark of our bedroom, laptop screen glowing, and felt something shift inside me. Not anger, not yet. Something colder, something more calculated. She hadn't left me to find herself. She'd left me for him, and she'd stolen our money to do it. I opened a new document and started writing, every detail, every transaction, every lie. I copied the flight confirmations, I screenshot the emails, I downloaded bank statements, I saved everything to a folder on a hard drive she didn't know about. Then I called my lawyer. He was the brother of a friend from work, someone I'd grabbed drinks with a few times. He answered on the 3rd ring. "Jordan, everything okay? It's almost midnight." "I need your help," I said. "How fast can you file theft charges against someone?" A week passed in slow motion. Isabel sent occasional texts, surface-level check-ins that felt like she was fulfilling an obligation. "How are you doing?" And "Hope work isn't too stressful." Never an explanation, never an apology, just breadcrumbs to keep me hoping while she figured out her exit strategy. I didn't respond to any of them. Instead, I worked. My lawyer, Patrick, was thorough. He pulled the bank records, documented everything. The money had been transferred to a personal account in Isabel's name only, one she'd opened 6 months ago. The timing wasn't coincidental. She'd been planning this for half a year. "The problem is," Patrick said over coffee on day 5, "she technically had legal access to that joint account. The prosecutor might not see it as theft since her name was on it." "It was money for our wedding," I said. "Money we both contributed to." "Your contributions versus hers?" "About 60-40. I put in more." Patrick nodded slowly. "That helps. But Jordan, even if we pursue this, the best outcome is probably restitution. She pays back what she took. Maybe some legal fees. This isn't the kind of thing that results in criminal charges unless we can prove intent to defraud." What if I could prove she planned this? That she transferred the money knowing she was ending the relationship? Then we might have a case for fraud. But that's hard to prove without explicit communication stating intent. I thought about the emails, the flight confirmations. Let me work on that. That night, I did something I'm not proud of but wouldn't take back. I used our shared laptop, the one Isabel left behind, because it was too slow for her video editing. She was still logged into her personal email on it. She must have forgotten. I found what I needed in a folder marked Travel Docs, an email chain between Isabel and Ethan, going back 7 months. The subject line was, "Second Chances." The first email was innocent enough, catching up after the reunion. But by the 3rd email, the tone shifted. "I never stopped thinking about us," Ethan wrote. "Seeing you again made me realize what I gave up when I chose my career over you back in college. I've built everything I wanted, but I'm still missing the one thing that mattered." Isabel's response made my hands shake. "I feel the same way. Jordan is safe, stable, but that's all he is. I need more than safe. I need what we had, what we could still have." The emails continued, plans forming, Ethan offering to help her transition to a new life. Isabel worrying about money, about starting over. Ethan suggesting she secure funds from our joint account before telling me. "You contributed to it," he wrote. "You deserve to take what's yours." I saved everything, printed copies, sent them to Patrick. The next morning, Isabel called. Her first actual call in 7 days. "Jordan?" Her voice was thick, like she'd been crying. "I need to talk to you." I sat at my kitchen table, coffee cooling in front of me. "I'm listening." "This has been so hard for me. I know I hurt you, and I'm sorry. I've been going through something. Stephanie thinks I might be having a quarter-life crisis." Stephanie, of course. That's what this is? A quarter-life crisis? I don't know what it is. I just know I've been so confused. And I was hoping maybe we could still be friends. I miss talking to you. Something hot and sharp rose in my throat. Friends. I know it's a lot to ask, but you were my best friend before you were my fiancée, and I really need a friend right now. I closed my eyes, counted to 10. "Check your mail, Isabel." "What?" "Go check your mail, then call me back if you still want to talk." "Jordan, what are you—" I hung up. Patrick had helped me prepare the envelope 3 days ago. Inside was a detailed accounting of every financial transaction from our joint account, every transfer highlighted in yellow. Also included printed copies of the emails between her and Ethan, the flight confirmations to Cancun, and a formal notice from Patrick's office that we were pursuing legal action for fraud. My phone rang again 30 minutes later. Isabel, but I didn't answer. I let it go to voicemail. She called 6 more times, left 3 voicemails, each one progressively more panicked. "Jordan, please pick up. We need to talk about this. You're being crazy. Those emails aren't what they look like. If you try to take me to court, I'll tell everyone what a controlling, paranoid boyfriend you were." That last one made me smile. Not because it was funny, but because she was already scrambling, already defensive, already showing me exactly who she was under the carefully curated social media persona. I texted her once, "Have your lawyer contact mine. We're done talking." She showed up at the apartment that night. I heard her key in the lock, heard it turn, heard it catch. I'd changed the locks that morning. Patrick said it was within my rights since I was the sole name on the lease. Isabel had been added as an authorized occupant, but that authorization ended when she moved out. She knocked, pounded, really. "Jordan, open this door. We need to talk." I sat on the couch, reading a book, listening to her yell. The neighbors probably heard everything. I didn't care. "You can't do this," she screamed. "Half that money is mine, and those emails are private. You had no right." I turned the page of my book, didn't move, didn't respond. Eventually, she stopped. I heard her slide down against the door, heard her crying, heard her call someone, probably Stephanie, and whisper cry about what a monster I was being. She left around 11. I slept better that night than I had in a week. Ethan Reeves was easier to research than I expected. Successful people leave digital footprints everywhere, especially when they're trying to impress others. His social media was a carefully maintained highlight reel: luxury hotels, designer suits, photos at charity events with local politicians. He'd built an image of success that was almost too perfect. I started digging deeper. Public records, business filings, financial disclosures. Ethan ran an investment consulting firm called Reeves Capital Management. On the surface, it looked legitimate. Nice office in downtown Boston, professional website, testimonials from satisfied clients. But something felt off. I spent 3 evenings after work going through everything I could find. Then I found the first crack. A complaint filed with the State Financial Regulation Board dated 2 years ago. A client claimed Ethan had misrepresented the risk level of certain investments and lost them a significant amount of money. The complaint was settled quietly, dismissed with no admission of wrongdoing. But it was there. I kept looking. Found 2 more complaints, both settled, both sealed, pattern emerging. I called an old college friend who worked in finance. Lawrence had been my roommate sophomore year, and he now did forensic accounting for a big firm in New York. "I need a favor," I said. and I need you to keep it quiet. What kind of favor? The kind where you tell me if someone's investment firm is legitimate or if they're running some kind of scheme. Lawrence whistled low. That's a big ask, Jordan. Those kinds of investigations are serious business. I'm not asking you to do anything illegal. Just point me in the right direction. Tell me what red flags to look for. He was quiet for a moment. Give me the name. Ethan Reeves, Reeves Capital Management, Boston. More silence. Then, Reeves. Why does that sound familiar? I heard typing on his end. Then a low laugh. Oh, man. Yeah, I've heard of this guy. He's been on our radar for a while. Nothing concrete, but the whispers are there. High returns that don't quite add up. Clients who suddenly can't withdraw funds due to market conditions. Classic signs of someone running a scheme, but he's smart enough to stay just on the right side of legal. Can you get me more information? Jordan, what are you planning? Nothing illegal. I just want to know who this guy really is. Lawrence sighed. I'll send you some links. Public information only. What you do with it is your business, but be careful. Guys like Reeves have lawyers. Good ones. The files came through my encrypted email the next morning. Lawrence had been thorough. Financial statements that didn't quite balance. Client testimonials that seemed suspiciously generic. And most damning, a pattern of new investors coming in right when old investors were cashing out. It looked like a Ponzi scheme, or at least something close to it, but proving it would be nearly impossible without inside information. I thought about Isabel, about the money she'd stolen, about the trip to Cancun she was probably planning to take with Ethan's help, and I thought about how satisfying it would be to watch both of them fall. That's when I decided to go beyond legal revenge. I created an anonymous email account, untraceable. Then I started reaching out to some of Ethan's former clients, the ones who'd filed complaints. I introduced myself as a financial journalist working on a story about investment fraud. Most ignored me. 3 responded. The stories were consistent. Ethan had promised incredible returns, used technical jargon and confidence to sell them. Then, when they tried to cash out, there were delays, excuses. Eventually, they got some money back, but never the full amount, and they all signed NDAs as part of their settlement agreements. He's smart, one former client told me over the phone. He wouldn't give his name but was willing to talk. He never takes everything, just enough that people are angry, but not angry enough to keep fighting, and he targets people who can't afford a long legal battle. What would happen if someone exposed him publicly? I asked. The man laughed bitterly. His whole business would collapse. He's built on reputation and trust. Take that away, and there's nothing holding him up. I thanked him and hung up. Then I started building my case. Not for a courtroom, for the court of public opinion. Patrick called me 2 weeks after Isabel received the envelope. She wants to meet. Just you, her, and the lawyers. No lawyers, I said. Just us. Jordan, that's not... I'll handle it. Trust me. I arranged to meet Isabel at a coffee shop near our old apartment. Neutral territory. Public enough that she couldn't make a scene, private enough that we could talk. She showed up 10 minutes late looking exhausted. No makeup. Hair in a messy bun. Nothing like the polished influencer her followers saw. She sat down across from me without ordering anything. Thank you for agreeing to meet. I sipped my coffee, said nothing. Jordan, I know I messed up. I know I hurt you. But this legal thing is too much. We can work this out between us. You stole $28,000 from our joint account. I didn't steal it. My name was on that account. I had every right. To fund your affair? I kept my voice level, calm. To buy plane tickets to Cancun with another man using money we both saved for our wedding? She flinched. How did you... I know everything, Isabel. The emails, the planning, Ethan, all of it. Her face went pale. You went through my email? That's illegal. Actually, it's not. We shared that laptop. You left yourself logged in. That's not hacking. That's negligence. I leaned forward. Want to know what else I found? She didn't respond, just stared at me with wide eyes. Ethan's business is a fraud. He's been running an investment scheme for years, taking money from new clients to pay old ones. Eventually, it's going to collapse. And when it does, anyone associated with him is going down too. You're lying. Am I? Ask him about the complaints filed against him. Ask him about the clients he's paid settlements to. Ask him where his incredible returns actually come from. Isabel's hands shook. Why are you doing this? Because you don't get to destroy our life and walk away clean. You don't get to steal from me, lie to me, and then play victim when there are consequences. I never meant to hurt you, but you did. And worse, you didn't care enough to even give me the truth. You were just going to disappear with him and our money and let me figure it out on my own. Tears ran down her face. Real ones, I think. I'm sorry. Sorry doesn't fix anything. She wiped her eyes. What do you want? You want me to pay you back? I will. Every cent. Just drop the legal case, please. I sat back, studying her. This was the moment. The moment I decided exactly how far I was willing to go. I want you to understand something, I said quietly. I loved you. Really loved you. I was ready to spend my life with you. And you threw that away for a con man and some Instagram fantasy of a perfect life. I stood up. The legal case continues. Patrick will be in touch about repayment terms. If you're smart, you'll settle before this goes to trial and becomes public record. Public record? Court documents are public, Isabel, including financial fraud allegations, including evidence of adultery, including everything. I paused. Your 400,000 followers might find that interesting. Her face went white. You wouldn't. Try me. I left her sitting there, staring into nothing, while I walked out into the afternoon sun. My hands were shaking. My heart was pounding. But I felt alive for the first time in weeks. That night, I got the first anonymous message on social media. A burner account with no followers. Stay away from Isabel or you'll regret it. I showed it to Patrick the next morning. Probably Ethan, he said, trying to intimidate you. What should I do? Nothing. Don't engage. If he escalates, we can file for a restraining order. Patrick looked at me seriously. Are you sure you want to keep pushing this? These kinds of situations can get messy. I'm sure. Jordan, I need to ask. Are you doing this for justice or for revenge? I thought about that. Really thought about it. Does it matter? Legally? No. Personally? Yes. Then it's both. Patrick nodded slowly. Just be careful. Revenge has a way of consuming people. But I wasn't consumed. I was focused, clear. For the first time since Isabel left, I knew exactly what I was doing, and I was just getting started. Isabel's social media presence started cracking 2 days after our coffee shop meeting. It was subtle at first. A few negative comments on her posts, questions about where she'd been, why she wasn't posting as much, her engagement numbers dropping. Then some anonymous account I definitely didn't create, posted a comment. How's Cancun with Ethan? Hope Jordan's money is funding a nice vacation. The comment was deleted within minutes, but screenshots lived forever. They spread to Reddit, to Twitter, to gossip forums where people dissected influencer drama. Within 24 hours, Isabel Mitchell was trending in certain circles. She posted a response, a carefully crafted statement about going through a private personal situation and asking for grace and understanding. She used words like healing and growth and authenticity. Her followers weren't buying it. The comments got worse. People started digging, found old posts with me, found our engagement announcement from last year, started piecing together the timeline. One particularly dedicated internet detective found Ethan's Instagram, started connecting dots, posted a side-by-side of Isabel's Finding Myself announcement and Ethan's recent post from a luxury resort. Isabel's follower count started dropping. slowly at first, then faster. 2,000 in one day, 5,000 the next. Brands started pulling back from partnerships. Her comments became brutal. She called me 3 times in one evening. I didn't answer. Finally, she texted, "Please make this stop. I know you're behind this." I wasn't, actually. Not directly. I'd simply made information available. The internet did what the internet does. But I didn't tell her that. Instead, I forwarded her message to Patrick with a note. "Evidence of harassment?" He replied, "She contacted you first, but don't engage further." I didn't need to. The machine was already in motion. Meanwhile, I focused on Ethan. I'd been documenting everything about his business. Every client review, every financial disclosure, every small inconsistency. And I found someone who could help me put it all together. Catherine Kim was an investigative journalist who specialized in financial fraud. She'd exposed 2 Ponzi schemes in the last year and had a reputation for being relentless. I sent her an anonymous tip through her encrypted contact form. "Look into Reeves Capital Management. Something doesn't add up with their returns." She responded 2 days later through the same channel. "Who is this?" "Someone with information. Interested?" "Depends on the information." I sent her everything. The client complaints, the settlement agreements I'd obtained, the financial patterns Lawrence had helped me identify. Everything except my personal connection to Ethan. 3 days later, Catherine's article went live on a major financial news website. "Boston investment firm under scrutiny. Are promised returns too good to be true?" The article was careful. No direct accusations, just questions. But it was enough. The business press picked it up. Other journalists started investigating. And suddenly, Ethan's carefully constructed empire was under a microscope. I watched it all unfold from my apartment, working remotely, drinking too much coffee, barely sleeping. I should have felt guilty. Should have felt like I'd gone too far. I felt nothing but satisfaction. Isabel tried one more time to reach me. She showed up at my office building, waited in the lobby until I came down for lunch. "Jordan, please, you're ruining my life." I stopped, looked at her. She'd lost weight, had dark circles under her eyes, looked nothing like the confident woman who'd broken up with me over quinoa 6 weeks ago. "I ruined your life?" I asked quietly. "Really?" "You know what I mean. The internet, the articles, the harassment. I know you're behind it." "I'm not behind anything. I just stopped covering for you." "What does that mean?" "It means I'm not pretending anymore. I'm not protecting your image. I'm not staying quiet while you steal from me and play victim. I'm just existing. And apparently, that's enough to expose who you really are." "I loved you," she said, and her voice broke. "No, you didn't. You loved what I represented. Stability, safety, someone to fall back on while you chased something better. But you never loved me." "That's not true." "Then why did you leave? Why did you take our money? Why did you choose him?" She didn't have an answer, just stood there, tears running down her face, while people walked past us in the lobby. "I want to fix this," she finally said. "Tell me how to fix this." "You can't. It's done." I walked past her, out into the street, and didn't look back. That night, Ethan called me. My actual phone number. I don't know how he got it, but I answered. "You think you're smart," he said. No introduction, just straight to threats. "You think you can destroy my business and get away with it?" "I haven't done anything illegal. You sent lies to that journalist. I sent facts. There's a difference. I will sue you for defamation." "Go ahead. Discovery will be fascinating." He was quiet for a moment. Then, "What do you want?" "Want? Everyone wants something. Money? You want Isabel back? What's your price?" "I don't have a price. Everyone has a price. Not for this." I hung up. 5 minutes later, Patrick called. "Did Ethan Reeves just contact you?" "How did you know?" "Because he called me too. Made some vague threats about harassment and defamation. I told him to put it in writing and hung up. Jordan, you need to be careful. I am being careful. No, you're being reckless. This isn't just about Isabel anymore. You're going after a guy who might be connected to some serious people. If he's running the kind of scheme we think he is, he's not going to take this lying down. What can he do? Everything I've done is legal. Legal doesn't mean safe. But I was past caring about safe. I'd spent 5 years playing it safe with Isabel, being the stable boyfriend, the reliable partner, the safe choice. And where had it gotten me? Stolen from and replaced by a fraud in designer suits? No, I was done being safe. The article about Ethan's business had consequences I didn't fully anticipate. Within a week, 3 more clients came forward publicly. Not anonymous tips. Full names, full stories. One of them was a retired teacher who'd lost her entire pension working with Ethan. Another was a young couple who'd invested their life savings based on his promises. The state regulatory board opened an official investigation. Ethan's business started falling apart in real time. His website went dark. His social media accounts locked. Word was he'd fled to his family's vacation house in the Hamptons, while lawyers tried to contain the damage. Isabel, by extension, was collateral damage. She'd posted photos with Ethan by then, tagged him in stories. The internet connected the dots instantly. She went from lifestyle influencer to the woman dating a con man overnight. Her follower count dropped below 200,000, then 100,000. Brands cut all ties. Her comment sections became toxic wastelands. She deleted everything, wiped her entire social media presence. Account after account went dark until there was nothing left of Isabel Mitchell, the influencer. Just Isabel, alone in whatever apartment she'd moved into with Stephanie. Patrick called me on a Thursday afternoon. They want to settle. Who? Both of them, Isabel and Ethan. Isabel will return the full amount she took plus interest. Ethan's lawyers are offering a separate settlement to make you sign an NDA about his business practices. How much is Ethan offering? 50,000. I laughed. Actually laughed. He thinks he can buy my silence for 50,000? It's not really about the money. It's about making this go away before the regulatory investigation gets worse. If you sign an NDA, you can't cooperate with investigators. Then I'm not signing. Jordan, think about this. $50,000 plus Isabel paying back what she took. You could walk away from all of this whole. I don't want to walk away whole. I want them to face consequences. Patrick sighed. I was afraid you'd say that. Are you telling me not to? I'm telling you that revenge is expensive, not just financially. It costs something else. Something you might not get back. Like what? Like the person you were before all of this. I thought about that after we hung up. Thought about who I'd been 2 months ago. Stable, predictable, safe. That person would have taken the settlement, would have moved on, found someone new eventually, built a different life. But I wasn't that person anymore. And I didn't want to be. I called Catherine Kim directly this time. Used my real name. I'm the anonymous source who sent you information about Ethan Reeves. I figured, she said. What do you need? Are you going to keep investigating him? Depends. Is there more to find? I think so, and I think he's trying to pay people off before the investigation gets serious, including me. Are you taking the money? No. Then I'm definitely still investigating. Can we meet? We met at a bar in downtown Boston. Catherine was in her 40s, sharp-eyed, with the kind of intensity that came from years of digging through other people's secrets. Why are you doing this? She asked, after I'd told her everything. The whole story. Isabel, the money, the affair, the investigation. Because they don't get to win. That's not justice. That's revenge. Does it matter? She smiled. Not to me. I'm a journalist. Your motivation doesn't change the story, but it might change what happens to you when this is over. I'll deal with that when it comes. Famous last words. But she published 2 more articles. each one digging deeper into Ethan's business, each one bringing more former clients out of the woodwork. The regulatory investigation expanded into a criminal probe: fraud, money laundering, conspiracy. Ethan was arrested 3 weeks later, perp walk and everything. The photos were all over the news. Isabel called me that night. I almost didn't answer, but curiosity won. "Are you happy now?" she asked. Her voice was hollow. "I'm not unhappy. He's going to prison, Jordan. They're saying 10 years minimum." "Good." "Good? How can you say that? He's a person. He made mistakes, but he stole from people, ruined lives, and you were right there beside him, spending stolen money and playing pretend." "I didn't know." "Yes, you did. Maybe not the details, but you knew something was wrong. You just didn't care because it benefited you." She was crying. "I lost everything." "So did I. 2 months ago. Remember? This is different." "How?" "Because I can't come back from this. My career is over. My reputation is destroyed. I can't even show my face online anymore." "And whose fault is that?" Silence, long and heavy. "I'll never forgive you for this," she finally said. "I'm not asking for forgiveness." She hung up. I sat in my apartment, phone in my hand, and waited for the guilt to come, the regret, the feeling that I'd gone too far. It never came. The trial took 6 months. I testified twice. Once about the money Isabel took. Once about what I'd discovered about Ethan's business practices. Both times I told the truth. Nothing more. Nothing less. Ethan was convicted on 14 counts of fraud and money laundering. The judge gave him 12 years, not the minimum, not the maximum, somewhere in the middle because some victims got some money back but most didn't. Isabel paid me back every cent she'd taken. The check arrived via certified mail with no note, just a bank check for $28,000. I deposited it and watched the number in my account climb back to where it should have been. Patrick closed the case. "You won," he said, "completely. Most people don't get this kind of resolution." "I know. So why don't you sound happy?" "I am happy." "No, you're satisfied. That's different." He was right. I wasn't happy. Happiness was something lighter, something that existed before all of this. What I felt was the cold satisfaction of watching dominoes fall exactly where I'd arranged them. Isabel disappeared from public life completely. I heard through mutual friends that she'd moved back to her hometown in Ohio, working at her family's real estate office. No social media, no online presence, just a normal life with a scarred past. Stephanie, her best friend, reached out to me once. We met for coffee at the same shop where Isabel and I had our confrontation. "I need you to know something," Stephanie said, not touching her latte. "Isabel's not doing well. Like really not well. She's in therapy 3 times a week. She's on medication. She can barely function." "Why are you telling me this?" "Because I thought you should know what your revenge cost." "My revenge? She stole from me. She lied to me. She destroyed our relationship for a con man. And you destroyed her entire life in response. You don't think that's disproportionate?" I thought about that. Really thought about it. No. I think it's exactly proportionate. She took everything from me. I took everything from her. We're even. That's not how it works, Jordan. She made mistakes, terrible mistakes, but what you did was systematic, calculated. You didn't just get even, you annihilated her. Good. Stephanie stared at me like she didn't recognize me. Maybe she didn't. Maybe I didn't recognize myself either. "I hope it was worth it," she said quietly, standing up. "Because the person you were when you and Isabel met, he's gone. And I don't think the person you are now is someone you're going to like very much when you realize what you've become." She left. I finished my coffee alone. But she was wrong about one thing. I did like who I'd become, or at least I understood him. The old Jordan would have forgiven Isabel. would have taken her back, probably. Would have spent years wondering what he did wrong, how he could have been better, why he wasn't enough. The new Jordan knew the truth. It wasn't about being enough. It was about Isabel being selfish and Ethan being a criminal, and both of them thinking they could take what they wanted without consequences. I gave them consequences. I went back to work, back to my normal life, started dating again after a while. Nothing serious. Just dinners and movies and surface-level conversations with women who didn't know my story. It was easier that way. 1 year after Isabel left, I got a letter. No return address. Postmarked from Ohio. Inside was a single page, Isabel's handwriting. I recognized it from old birthday cards and grocery lists, and the note she'd left on our refrigerator the day she broke up with me. Jordan, I don't expect you to read this. I don't expect anything from you anymore. But I needed to write it anyway. I've spent a year in therapy trying to understand what happened, trying to understand who I was and who I became. My therapist says I need to take responsibility for my actions. So here it is. I was selfish. I was cruel. I used you and I hurt you and I'm sorry. Not because I want forgiveness. I know I'll never have that. But because it's true. You deserved better than what I did to you. I know what you did to me in response. I know it was revenge. And I understand why you did it. I probably would have done the same thing if I had the strength. But I need you to know that it worked. You broke me completely. And maybe I deserve that. Maybe that's justice. I don't know anymore. I just know that I wake up every day and have to live with who I am now. And it's hard. Really hard. I hope you're happy. I mean that. I hope whatever you got from all of this was worth it. Because the cost was both of us. Isabel. I read the letter 3 times. Then I put it in a drawer in my desk. Didn't respond. Didn't acknowledge it. What was there to say? She was right. I had broken her. Systematically, deliberately, and she had broken me first, just in a different way. We were both casualties of our own choices. 6 months after that, I was at a bar with co-workers celebrating someone's promotion when I saw her. Not Isabel. Someone who looked enough like her that it made me freeze mid-conversation. Same hair color, same build, same way of laughing at something on her phone. "You okay?" my coworker asked. "Yeah, just thought I saw someone I knew." But I wasn't okay. For the first time since all of this started, I felt something crack inside me. Not guilt, exactly, not regret. Something else. Something like recognition that I'd won a war but lost something in the process that I couldn't name. I left the bar early, went home, pulled out Isabel's letter and read it again. The cost was both of us. Maybe Stephanie and Isabel were right. Maybe I had become someone different, someone harder, someone who knew how to hurt people efficiently and didn't hesitate when the opportunity came. But I also knew I'd never let anyone hurt me like that again. Never let anyone take from me without consequences. Never be the safe, stable option that someone left behind when something shinier came along. I'd paid a price for that knowledge. Isabel had paid a higher one. And Ethan was sitting in a federal prison cell, paying the highest price of all. Was it worth it? That's the question everyone wants answered. The question Stephanie asked. The question Isabel's letter asked. The question I asked myself late at night when the apartment was quiet, and there was no one to tell but myself. The answer was yes. Not because I was happy, not because I felt justified, but because the alternative was being the person who got destroyed and did nothing about it, who let people take and take and take without ever standing up. I'd stood up, I'd fought back, and I'd won. The cost was who I used to be, the naive version of Jordan who thought love and trust and doing the right thing were enough. That version ended the day Isabel walked away. What emerged was someone who understood that sometimes the world doesn't reward being good. Sometimes it rewards being strategic, being cold, being willing to burn everything down to make a point. I'd made my point. Isabel would never forget it, Ethan would spend the next decade remembering it, and I would spend the rest of my life living with who I'd become in the process. 2 years after everything ended, I was cleaning out my desk at home when I found the photos. Old ones from when Isabel and I first started dating. Young faces, happy smiles, two people who had no idea what was coming. I almost threw them away. Almost. But something stopped me. Not nostalgia, not longing for what was, just recognition that those people existed once. That version of me and that version of her. Before betrayal, before revenge, before everything turned dark and cold and calculating. I put the photos in a box in the back of my closet, not to remember fondly, just to remember, to keep evidence that I was capable of being that person once, even if I never would be again. Because that's the real cost no one talks about. Not the money, not the relationships, not the consequences for the people you hurt. The real cost is looking in the mirror and seeing someone you don't entirely recognize anymore. Someone who chose revenge over healing, who chose destruction over moving on. I'd made that choice with open eyes. I'd do it again. But that didn't mean I didn't understand what it cost me. Patrick called me one last time, about 3 years after everything started. Ethan's appealing his sentence. Thought you should know. Will it work? Probably not. The evidence was overwhelming. But his lawyers are going to try everything. That's what lawyers do. Let me know if they need me to testify again. Will do. How are you doing, Jordan? Really? I'm fine. That's not what I asked. I looked around my apartment. New place, new furniture, new life built on the ashes of the old one. I'm different than I was, but I'm okay with that. Are you? I have to be.